Hey, I am here. I'm just sharing that I'm going live with my groups, so that they can pop on over. Sharing a group. Transformation and Empowerment Support Community. Pop on over to the public page. Awesome. Hey, my friends, here we are. So it's Chat with Matt. It's the 15th of May. I am a bit croaky this morning. I've got an interesting clearing going on. I might talk a little bit about that in a moment. Let me close that so it doesn't distract me. Make sure the thing's on silent. There we go. Hey, Mary Sykes. So here we are. It's Chat with Matt. It's episode 19, I believe. We're ticking along, eh? Awesome, Mary. Please ask your question. I didn't see it written here, but type away. Oh, maybe it was here. Correct. Yeah. So type away, and I'll keep my eyes open for it. Eyes open. Eyebrows up as well. So yeah, I'm a bit croaky this morning. Interestingly, I just started coming down with not really a sore throat, but a funny little dry cough going on last night. Something that I don't. Not my normal way of clearing at all, not my normal way of quote unquote getting sick. Normally I'd get a runny nose or the sniffles first, or even a sore throat, but not just a sort of a dry sort of cough just come out of nowhere at like about 5 p.m. yesterday afternoon, which has sort of developed into a little bit more heady this morning. But I know what it's all about. Well, quote unquote, no. I believe a lot of it is resistance to a course that I'm doing at the moment, self-development or marketing or whatever you want to call it. It is self-development and it is marketing. It's both, because marketing is somewhere that I need to develop as a as a whole person. It's not my forte and it's not my passion, but it's something that is required for me to do what I do. To do my passion, I need to be able to get it out to you guys. So I'm doing this course to help me do that better. And of course, there's a huge amount of resistance to it on multiple levels. I was journaling about it this morning after my meditation, pages of it streaming out about my resistance to this. And hence, I'm kind of losing my voice, right? Because I don't feel on a level that it's safe for me to market myself. It's not safe for me to quote unquote sing my praises, even though I know what I do is good and beneficial. So that's an interesting process. And so for me, it's about maintaining a positive attitude towards this, right? And just have some lemon juice and honey while I think about it. One of the things that people misunderstand when you say maintain a positive attitude, they think you mean you have to keep thinking positive all the time. And it's not that, right? We're not sugarcoating everything, right? A lot of people think when you say, stay positive, that you mean, just think good things. And that's rubbish, right? That's rubbish. That's delusional. What we mean when we say stay positive is maintain a positive attitude to what you are experiencing, which may not feel very positive at all, right? But maintaining a positive attitude is an overriding understanding, over under, right? I love the way words work. An overriding understanding that everything is working out to serve you, even though it feels terrible, right? So, and it doesn't mean that you need to stay in feeling terrible. It doesn't mean that, I'm thinking positively and this is all serving me. I feel terrible. I'm just going to sit in terrible because this is serving me. It's not like that at all, right? Do what you feel to do to mitigate your symptoms or your situation, your circumstance, right? Do what you know to do to improve your situation, but don't begrudge the situation you're in thinking that it's negative, right? Thinking that it's a bad thing, because it's inspiring you to move forward into a greater version of yourself. So that's it. So when we talk about maintaining a positive attitude, it's maintaining and overriding understanding that what you're going through is serving you, and that if you can go through it with a degree of allowance and dedication to moving through it, to staying expansive, to allowing yourself to use tools and methods and processes and mindset to help you move through it effectively, then it's going to serve you well, right? And as opposed to allowing yourself to descend into a negative attitude towards what you're experiencing, which is basically proclaiming, well, this is all effed up. I'm effed up for experiencing this. Why can't I get this right? Start beating on yourself for having a bad experience. That's just going to leave you in a hole. It's driving your vibration lower, and you're going to get into that place called stuck. You're going to feel hopeless and desperate. And right, even maintaining though, so what I just want to caveat that, even when you're maintaining a positive attitude, you still may feel hopeless and useless and worthless and desperate. You feel that, but you've got a positive overriding attitude that is not who you are. It's just what you are feeling, right? It's just what you are feeling. Awesome. Mary Sykes. That's good. I can relax my body, but notice that my internal self is not so relaxed. And I find that there's much fear letting go internally. Perfect. As when I fall asleep, I suddenly jolt awake. And just in general, I may be relaxed outside, but not totally inside. Awesome awareness, and that is totally appropriate. Understand that as you choose to maintain your relaxed outside, you are opening a space where you can be more and more aware of what is releasing from inside of you. As you relax outside, Mary, you are actually promoting the stress from inside of you to be shown. And it is releasing as a result of that. As you see the disquiet within you, the fear within you, and you choose to maintain a positive attitude towards it, which basically means keep relaxing, right? Because if you maintain a relaxed outside, then that inside stress loses its reason for being. It loses its validity, right? It's soon, right? There's a reason that it's there, right? So we understand that internal stress is basically trauma from your past, deep past, some of it, and reinforced in other times in this lifetime. But if you can maintain a relax, because what it's trying to do is that, well, what normally happens is when that internal stress comes up, your external being contracts around it and you lock it all in place, right? Because you now have sort of completed the stress cycle where the fear-based feelings have come up from within inside you. You've physical body contracts, and then your mental mind goes and finds a reason in the external world why you are so stressed. And therefore, you have reason for being stressed and you stay stressed. When you keep choosing to physically relax, when you keep choosing to relax the outside, even though you can feel the internal stress, the fears, the triggers, the traumas arising, the feeling of not good enough, or the feeling of not safe enough, or the feeling of, unworthiness or grief arising from within you, then you are going to go through the process of releasing that. Because if you can stay relaxed outside, it's losing its hold on you. It's losing its ability to influence you. Those energies that are arising from within you are trying to protect you in a way. They're trying to make you close down and stay small and therefore safe. Because in the past, the deep past, you've got into trouble for being expansive, right? It hasn't been appropriate to be expansive. And so that's why we're carrying these fears inside of us. And just like I'm talking about with the resistance that I'm going through as a physical clearing right now, if I can maintain my positive attitude towards this, if I can stay relaxed and not make it wrong that I'm quote unquote sick, not that I really am sick, but you know what I mean, if I don't buy into the idea it's very wrong for me to be having this clearing reaction, then this clearing reaction will happen much more effectively and quickly. So awesome, Mary, you're doing perfect. That's exactly what we are encouraging you to do, to relax your external world, to relax your physical body, and therefore relax your mind somewhat, and then be aware of what's arising from within you. Not that you need to fix that stress inside you, you just need to witness it and basically devalidate it by going, there's nothing to worry about. I am safe right now. I can feel this fear inside of me, but it's not relevant. It doesn't have relevance today. It's there, and it's not that it's wrong for being there. It's not that you're wrong for having it there, right? That is just it's just the natural. What do we call that? Something from your past, right? Something that's been caused by your past. It's just a natural thing that's been caused by your past. The past. God, Matthew, I can't even speak. Have a drink. So that's great, Mary. I'm really, really happy that you're having that experience and you're developing that awareness that you can see that as you relax externally, there's still internal struggle and stress inside of you. That's perfect. Really, really good. Just relax with it. Relax with the fact that you're not relaxed internally. So basically what I'm saying is maintain a mental attitude that it's okay, that you don't need to get concerned, right? You don't need to trigger the stress response in your body even though you're feeling the disquiet. Of course it comes from your past. Where else would it come from? It feels completely different when we have a premonition of impending danger in the future. Completely different. It's much more proactive. It feels much more inciting. Not exciting, but inciting. It incites us to take action when we feel that something is actually wrong in our near future or in a circumstance that we're currently in, right? A premonition or an intuitive guidance that there is something to be scared of, something that is not serving us in the current situation. That is a completely different feeling, and you will definitely recognize it as opposed to this old past dense energy, this maligning. I'm not sure if maligning is the right word, but this old fear that we carry around inside of us that it feels like we're not safe, but we kind of know that nothing stacks up, nothing really adds up. Hey, Sister Leslie, how are you? I saw someone else commented as well, and I didn't. Oh, that's interesting. How are you? Hey, Meg, how are you, sister? And Beryl Wood, welcome. And a few other people who I haven't seen their names scroll through, but that's okay. So yeah, it's Chat with Matt. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. Not really, I don't really feel sick, but I've just got this head thing going on. Started with a dry cough yesterday, as I was speaking earlier in this video. It's resistance. It's resistance to me stepping forward and expressing myself in a bigger way. I'm doing a course at the moment, sort of around marketing and offering a new product out there in a more, in what sort of a more way, in a very much more direct is probably not the right word, but focused. I'm being encouraged by by this mentor to really niche down and focus on solving a particular, well, solving is a hard word I don't really like, but working with a particular issue and working with a range of offerings to really help that. I can't, I'm gonna get out of here. Like I've been attempting to do that a little bit more. Like the sleep package was more direct, but it was still very broad, right? Anyone who has issues with sleep. But this current thing that I'm doing is much more laser focused in on a specific niche of people with a specific issue that I feel I can help, and I would get a lot of joy out of helping them. And that's why we're working to develop a product that can help them, right? A course, basically selling a course that can help them. But it's triggering a lot of shit inside of me, a lot of resistance. I've been bouncing around for the last week and a half, wading through my tendency to procrastinate and to distract. And luckily I've had the gift of being able to meditate and journal. My new habit is 2 weeks into journaling every morning after my meditation, pretty much. Occasionally I have to get up because I've got an early session or something, and I have to journal a little bit later. But I'm really happy to be making progress with journaling my way through this resistance and doing a practice which I'm going to introduce more and more of journaling my memories of the future. So speaking about the future that I'm choosing to create as if it's already happened, right? Putting it into past tense as I write about it. So I remember when, I got through this course, even though I was struggling with it. I remember when I felt a lot of resistance to showing up and I had to really dig deep. I remember when I used my meditation and my journaling practice to get me through this practice, and it was all worth it because now, right, as if now I'm writing in the present tense as if I'm in the future, now I have achieved this outcome and it's happening really well and I'm really, really happy with it. And you build the energy around having a success with something that right now I'm not sure I can succeed at, right? So I'm creating a memory of succeeding at something in the future, because the mind doesn't really understand how it works. That's the great thing about the mind. We can hack it. So when you start talking about something as if it's already happened, even though it hasn't, the mind sort of starts scrambling and go, what did I miss? What did I miss? It's already happened and I didn't know how. Oh, this is how it happened. And then your mind actually starts finding ways of making it happen because you're writing about it as if it's already happened, right? And it's quite interesting what flows out of your pen or out of your mouth when you start working in this way, because you start bringing in answers that you didn't even know you were looking for, right? When you start talking about the fact that you've succeeded at doing something, and you might start by writing, I don't know how I managed to get to this great outcome, but it's fantastic now that I'm here. And then a few sentences later you go, well, I just started doing this and this and this, right? And you start writing how you got there, how you got to the fantastic outcome, which gives you insight into how to start acting right now to get there, right? Your mind and your subconscious is already bringing out potential pathways to achieving the outcome that you're writing about as if it's already happened. Okay, Sister Beryl wrote in. So I'm going to talk more and more about that, and definitely that's part of this new course that I'm putting out there, and probably part of most courses that we do from now on. Anyway, perfect comments, Matt. This is from Beryl. Perfect comments, Matt and Mary, as the knot at the back of my neck just relaxed completely. Awesome. Thanks. Of course, my head is wobbling now. Yeah, perfect, Beryl. So that's understandable. So understand that the wobbling in your head is basically the energy flowing back in and flowing through, right? So as the neck relaxed and you let go of the tension and the burden that you've been carrying, the proper flow of energy can start again, and that feels unusual, uncomfortable, all of that. Yeah, thank you, Mary. It is really, I think it is really good. I'm really happy that I've kind of stumbled into it. I heard a few things. Kyle, I have to credit Kyle. I haven't got my language today, which is really interesting. Kyle Cease does something similar, right? Who's that sort of comedian facilitator. He calls it Kalago or something. Basically, he told the story about how he started doing it. He was going to an audition or something, and he started talking to his friend Diego, which is how it became Kalago, about how he aced the audition even before he went in, right? And so he stumbled onto this. I've kind of changed it a little. Well, I've personalized it to myself a little bit, of course, from the way he recommends you do it. But yeah. And it's becoming very, very obvious how it works. Yeah, what else? Who else? How are we going for time? I've still got a good 10 minutes here, my friends. What else would you like to know about? Chat with Matt. Here we are. I have got a list of things that I need to do on Facebook that I haven't yet, because I've been quote unquote trying to concentrate on getting more and more through this course. We've basically got tasks to do, and it's been interesting how the evolution has really taken place, different probably to how I've ever created any other course, or every course or program or package that I've created. There's definitely been an evolution of ideas, but this one, because for the first time I've been guided by, this is the first time I've really even worked with a mentor in this way, to be honest. I've had mentors in the past, but they've been more just about maintaining your spiritual practice, right? They've been not so much directing the course of my progress in developing anything or stepping forward in any way business-wise. Oh, well, I guess Aram drove us a little bit as a mentor back in the day, back 4 years ago when I was getting ready to go on Telesummit for the first time. But other than that, so it's been quite interesting how I've noticed my understanding of what he's teaching has evolved from where I started, and I just started doing the exercise he was handing out blindly, and then seeing why he's doing that, and then going back and redoing it with a new level and layer of refinement and therefore outcome. Debbie Morrill, Matt, how do you feel about being? That's an interesting question. How do I feel about being? I might need a little bit more information there, Debbie, but being is what it's all about, right? I talk a lot about being as opposed to doing. Definitely, right? Being is where our worth is. Our worth is based in who we be, not in what we do. But I'm not exactly sure what your question was referring to. How do you feel about being? Leslie wrote in, I would like your thoughts on using the mind now. I find it very difficult to focus and use it like I used to. Yeah, well, that's true. It is a new kettle of fish working with our mind, Leslie. And I am open to you, Debbie, writing back and asking me a little bit more about being and what exactly you're on about. But so we all have to relax into the idea that our mind is not going to work as just a memory machine like it did before. Right, we used to use our mind to remember facts and information that was important to us, and then, the left brain, right, so this is what I'm talking about. Memory, and we still have the ability to cognate, definitely, but what we don't seem to have today so much is the ability to remember facts and figures, the ability to remember times and dates, the ability to... we do have the ability to do that. It's not as present. It's not as overpowering as it once was. It doesn't seem as important to us. It does egoically. It feels important to us in some way because it's our old habits of doing things with our mind. But energetically, obviously, our mind is losing its grip as the entity in charge of us as a being, and we're becoming much, much more heart-based, intuitively driven, and working with our feelings and our understandings and the nuances of all of that energy. So, as I was just describing, it's really easy to get distracted. It's really easy not to stay on focus at the moment because for me, energies are pulling us all over the place, and there's a lot of energy available to do that. So it does take a certain level of dedication. I use the word dedication rather than discipline, but you can use the word discipline to maintain a mental focus for any length of time in achieving a task. But what I've found, as I was just sort of describing, as I've been going through this process with, I thought I was maybe getting dementia. Hey, Adriana. Yeah, no, Mary Sykes, you're not getting dementia. We're just all not, our minds are not maintaining that rule-based memory structure of control over us anymore. But what is happening is, as I was just describing as I'm going through this course, is we are being intuitively guided more and more into good ideas, right? Good ideas are arising not through our mental cognition or our mental effort at thinking our way through what we want to do anymore, but giving it space and allowing our inspiration to arise. So that's why I have found personally that, this year I've been very big on doing an hour of meditation every morning. And that has really, really, really helped, right? Just basically silent meditation, not doing a guided practice or anything like that, just sitting with my mind every morning. And now that I've combined that with journaling straight after or even during, so I'm picking up my journal during my meditation, which is something I never used to like doing because I didn't like to break myself out of the space that I was floating in to write. But now that I've got into the practice of journaling afterwards, I've relaxed around the idea that I can quickly pick up the journal and scribble something down and put it back down and then go back into my meditation without too much upset to the process, which has allowed me to capture a lot of my insights and inspirations that potentially before I wasn't really utilizing very well. And so that is the process that is overcoming the lack of ability to think so clearly or to mentally effort your way through working out what's the best thing to do, which never really works so well anyway, right? When we create things from our mind, it's based, because the mind runs in fear most of the time. It doesn't really run in love. The mind runs in avoiding problems and keeping ourselves safe as opposed to stepping into joy and expressing ourselves fully, right? That's the job of the heart. So we're all being inspired to move more from our heart and less from our mind. And so feeling like, oh, I think I've got dementia is this, this process of falling out of mental control, which has kept us stifled. And so now what your challenge is, as the mind starts falling away so that we just don't become completely non-functional, is to allow our intuitive guidance to step forward. And that requires some dedication. It requires doing some practices to help ourselves express our intuitive guidance and to allow ourselves to use that in place of what we used to use our mind for. So, but as the mind is falling apart, the problem is it's getting quite desperate and hanging on and clinging and yelling even louder, and the doubts are even more prevalent than they ever were for some of us, for most of us, a lot of the time. So the mind is losing its ability to function well. The intuitive guidance comes up as to what we should do, but the mind is so desperate that it basically yells doubts at any intuitive guidance that comes up because, it's like a captain that's losing the ship. It's not very calm about it all and not very accepting. So helping our mind accept that we're not in mortal danger, we're not getting dementia, we're not, going mad, and that we are going to be able to function is important because it's, to get intuitive guidance, we need to stay relaxed. And to allow that process to happen more eloquently, it's really going to serve you to do some practices that help you get into the right space where that intuitive guidance can be collected, right? So that means spending time in silence, spending time in nature, spending time doing some exercise, right? Getting out of your mind and into your body helps you to collect intuitive guidance, right? And you might think that, I've had a good thought. That's intuitive guidance, right? It doesn't feel necessarily like it's coming out of your heart. It still feels like it's in your head a lot of the time, but there's a difference to it. It comes out of a relaxation as opposed to coming out of a mental effort to get a good idea. When we say sleep on it, that's basically what we're doing. We're putting ourselves to sleep to allow our subconscious, our heart, to speak into the mind space. And while we wake up with a good idea, that's intuitive guidance. Hey, Meg, I can add here that the less time I'm on screens and the more meditating, the more information and ideas come to me. Exactly. Right. So basically, screens are a very prevalent form of distraction that we're currently dancing with on the planet at the moment. And we all have our personal screens now. Rather than sitting around the television like we used to do 20 years ago and get distracted that way, which was a little bit more social and a little bit less invasive. Now we have these personal things. We have earpods in and we have the screen really close and we're getting indoctrinated and we're flashing through information even more quickly, right? Scrolling through Facebook or Instagram or, social media, seeing image. It's very, very distracting and it's very, very discombobulating. We need to have silence from that. And it's not easy because we all have, these things, these phones, they come with us everywhere pretty much now. And so when before we'd be waiting for the bus and we'd just be sitting there in our own thoughts, or watching the pigeon bloody trying to get some bread off the sidewalk or whatever, right? We'd be watching something far more wholesome. I don't know why a pigeon getting bread is wholesome, but it's much more connecting to life than scrolling down your Facebook feed or texting people about triviality, right? There's so much triviality that goes backwards and forwards. We're more and more connected to people than ever before, but it's becoming more and more shallow, right? Less and less we're going into feelings and truth. It's becoming easier and easier to be non-authentic, right? Because when you text someone, it's completely different to standing face to face and talking to them, right? And so we're losing the intimacy in our connections, and we're losing the intimacy with ourselves even, because we are not sitting in silence. We're not spending time with just our own thoughts. Yeah, so more real and not virtual. Exactly, Mary. And in the same time, we can do things like this virtually, which is nourishing. So it's not that the screen needs to go completely. It's just that we need to much more carefully monitor and moderate how we're using it, and not to allow ourselves to be programmed, indoctrinated, conditioned by the crap that is easily fed to us. Because really, when you scroll down that Facebook feed, most of what's there is crap, right? Most of what's there is designed as some sort of clickbait. That's the truth of it. Anything you see there, like, even stuff that seems like good news, a lot of it is manipulated in ways to get you thinking certain ways, or a lot of it has political agenda or economic agenda attached to it. I just saw something the other day about drug use and this and that and that, and it was basically positive, but I just thought, that's interesting. So I Googled it, and of course it was full of half-truths and things, and I could see the agenda behind what was there. So it's like, it's just a good awareness that feed of information that a lot of people are using now as their primary source of knowing what's going on in the world is very, very tenuous in terms of how much truth is in it and what the truth is designed. The truth, truth is an interesting subject right from the start. But anyway, we're running out of time. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. I still didn't manage to really answer your question, Debbie, about how do you feel about being. I feel really good about being. Being here, being present, being who I am. I feel really good about that. And I sometimes feel uncomfortable about it as well. That's the truth. There's a lot of discomfort that we feel in being ourselves, because we've got to let go of a lot of indoctrination that's not our being, but it's what we've been presented with in the past, and what we are still carrying. Anyway, my friends, that's probably Chat with Matt done. Hopefully that helped with the question from Lena about using your mind today. So to use your mind effectively today, it's to give yourself enough silence and space, as little distraction as possible from time to time throughout the day, to allow your mind to relax out of its concerns that it's not functioning very well, because it's getting harder and harder to function as well. And while the mind's losing its ability to remember stuff, we're getting presented with more and more information. That this overwhelm thing is very, very real, right? As this mentor was talking to us in the last call, in presenting packages to people, in presenting products to people, less is more. Very, very, very much true today, that the value that you're presenting is in succinct, easy to follow steps or processes, as opposed to giving them more, right? The worth of the package is in the value of the succinctness, as opposed to the volume of the information or processes, in my case, that you give people. Something I probably haven't really cottoned onto earlier, and am guilty of always, quote unquote, over-delivering in quantity, which probably doesn't help people choose to purchase what I've been putting out there because it seems too much, seems too hard, seems too complicated. And if I just break it down into very succinct steps, it's going to be more appealing to more people, which is what I need to do, right? I'm not here to, make a lot of money doing this. I'm here to get my information. I'm here to get Mantara's message out to more and more people. So I need to work out how to do this better. I was just asked to ask this question so I could hear yourself. Okay, great, Debbie. I like a person who talks in riddles. You're like me. I was just asked to ask this question, I presume by spirit, so I could hear yourself. Also, I could hear myself. Also, you could hear myself. I'm not quite sure, but anyway, my time's up because I'm supposed to be sticking to a discipline of only doing this for half an hour, and my half an hour's well up. So much love to you all. I look forward to serving you all again next week at the same time. Sorry, I did stuff up the notification. I said 3 p.m. Central and it should have been 4 p.m. Central, but it will be the same time next week. 9 a.m. New Zealand, 4 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. UK. Much love to you all. Bye for now. Namaste. Hari Om. Bye.